Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and we're going to be having a 1v1 on Semoskiy. Now, this should have been Semoskiy Winter, because this is, again, another cast from the round of 128 from the Sunday Night Fights Season 5 tournament, but it was actually played in Semoskiy, the standard one. Not exactly sure why, but, well, I suppose it's fine. I mean, if both players agreed and there was no problem with the director, yeah, I suppose it went through. So anyways, our heroes today are going to be BossLtrain playing for the Soviets, and his opponent is going to be Most Wanted Killer, BE, playing for the Germans. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer here. The overlay is going to glitch out every once in a while because unfortunately I had the wrong settings for this map when I recorded it, but it shouldn't happen that often. It shouldn't be that much or that bad, so we should be fine. So anyways, BossLtrain going down to the southern fuel point with his combat engineers, jumping into the house to get some vision. They see the pioneers and jump back into the house to deny the pioneers from being able to fight in this territory, so the pioneers just simply move along on their way. Now, a little bit more info from the players. We have BossLtrain being the highest ranked player in this matchup, and he is currently ranked around 500 for the Soviets. So, yeah, I mean, BossLtrain is not in that rank. And there we go, that is one of the glitches that I mentioned. Sorry about that, but not much I could do about it at this point. But again, like I said, it went away rather quickly, so it shouldn't be that prevalent. And as far as the seeding goes for the players, we have them being 48 for BossTrain and 81 for Most Wanted Killer. So again, the round of 128 is a best of one, so only one match is played. So instant elimination going down. Build order wise, we have BossTrain going for conscripts like most Soviet players do, and Most Wanted Killer got himself tier 1 and got himself a Gren and an MG42. However, he did go for the 2 Pioneer build, and yeah, I mean that is a little bit different, but you know, nothing too drastic. MG42 for Most Wanted Killer down in the southern strategic point, opening up on the combat engineers in that house, getting shot from the side by those conscripts. The conscripts are moving across the river to get the flank. MG42 decides to pack up and is probably going to set up in a more favorable position for itself. Center map, we have conscripts pushing up to the cutoff point, although we have a pioneer and a grenadier squad in that point. Conscripts jumping into the house, denying it for the German forces. Very nice. The pioneers were running to the house, but they now find themselves in front of a locked door and are going to be getting shot by those conscripts. Grenadiers are there for support, however, so they will be able to put up a decent fight. And there is a conscript squad nearby that is not supporting on the fight. Could move up a little bit over here to the green cover to start firing at these Grens. But being in the house, the conscripts do have the favorable position, so they'll be fine. Down south, we see the MG42 finally retreating in the face of those conscripts, and the conscripts just moving along to capture. And finally, we see the combat engineers jumping out of the house for BossLtrain, and they're going to go along and cap. Center map, we see the pioneers retreating in the face of that fight, and the conscripts did finally move up to that wall and are taking some shots at the distance on those grenadiers. Grenadiers are still at 4 men, so they're fine, but the conscripts are now moving closer to them and forcing them to shift their position. Left-hand side of the map, we see pioneers just simply capturing territory, and a 4th conscript squad hitting the field for BossLtrain. Tech-wise, we see nothing for BossLtrain and no additional tech for Most Wanted Killer, but we do see a mortar hitting the field for Most Wanted Killer, so a interestingly set up combined arms approach for Most Wanted Killer. Only 1 Grand Squad on the field, 2 Pios, 2 MGs, and a mortar. If he goes for a second mortar, that is going to be the first time I've seen that happen, so we'll see. Grans do lose one of their men in that fight and decide to back away. The MG42 still opening up on those conscripts in the house. House is providing ridiculous amount of defense in Company Heroes 2, and there are still 6 men in that conscript squad in the house, covered a little bit by the conscripts over back here. But finally, we see the mortar coming into play for Most Wanted Killer and laying down some fire on that house. 1 shot did hit directly, doing some damage to the conscripts inside. Next 2 shots actually missed the house completely, but the conscripts are now down to half health. Nice shot almost lands on the side of the door. Might have caught them as they were exiting, but they do manage to get out of there. All of them alive and are now just backing away. MG42 does pack up and is probably going to jump itself into the house. And on the right-hand side, we have an MG42 and a Grenadier squad fighting against another conscript squad in the house. So BossLtrain putting houses in this map to use very much. And, well, in pretty much in any sense, being a pain in Most Wanted killer's ass. So the Grens do finally capture that victory point on the right-hand side, but the conscripts are still there, being an annoyance. The Grens themselves are very low in health, down to 3 men, and down to about, I would say, probably 10% health on that squad. So each individual model will take a beating, and the conscript squad that was hiding in that house jumped up to another house to hide, took some beatings from the MG42 and the mortar, and decided to retreat, but in doing so actually took a shot from the mortar and ended up losing almost all the entire squad, down to a sliver of health on 1 man. Barely makes it out alive. Conscripts on the right-hand side did jump out of the house and Ura forward, trying to get onto those, onto that MG42, probably to throw a Molotov, but it does get pinned down in the process and mauled in doing so. The Grens do take some shots as they retreat, down to 4 men, but they will make it out alive just fine. Medic's now upgraded for BossLtrain, so he's going to be able to get his squads back to full strength and health before getting out. And we see the left side of the map being captured by BossLtrain. Center of the map, Most Wanted killer going to work, but he now has tier 2 and is getting himself a half-track as his first unit from tier 2. So he will be able to reinforce his units on the field and potentially get himself a flamer half-track. MG42s will be able to put that to work. They are currently damaged, and we have a 1-man grenadier squad somewhere around here, but it's over here on the right-hand side, so that one could also use a little bit of help from that half-track. Half-track, however, is back at the base of Most Wanted killer. He has not decided to move it out, so we shall see when it comes into play. Conscripts taking some shots at the Pios in the graveyard, MG42 taking shots at the church, but, well, it's a building and it's conscripts, so they will be able to stay in there for quite a while. Mortar does set up and turn around, taking some shots at the church, so we'll make them get out of there in a little while. Nice shot landing right on top of the church. The conscripts said, okay, well, that's our cue to leave, and they decide to exit. A very risky thing to do, exiting buildings. I mean, I know you have to do it, obviously, but the rate of fire of the mortar makes it so that when it hits your building, if you decide to exit, the next round is going to land almost exactly as your units are exiting the building, and since they all clump up right outside the exit, it's a possibility. I mean, quite small at that, but it is a possibility that the round can actually hit your entire squad and wipe it out. But anyways, down south we see an engagement. Pioneers, 2 Pioneer squads actually, engaging a conscript squad in the fuel point. Molotov landing in the house, starting to burn those Pioneers alive, and one of the Pioneers... No, I thought he lost that squad, but no, actually both Pioneer squads decide to jump into the house for some reason. One of them getting cooked alive now, and the second one still into the house. Flamethrower half-track pushing out, trying to get on top of those conscripts, and the conscripts decide to actually spare the lives of that Pioneer squad as they run away. Flamer half-track running towards those conscripts, going to start torching them as they retreat. No anti-tagnates research for BossLtrain, but he does have a T-70 on the field that is just hitting the field right now, and it looks like he's deciding to turn to the right-hand side and go half-track hunting, which is going to be an excellent choice considering that it has no veterancy. Once it hits veterancy 2, the T-70 is less effective against the half-track. Obviously, it can still kill it, but it's going to take a long while. Doctrine selected for BossLtrain, and that is the guard mortar coordination tactics, and getting himself a 120mm mortar, so he's going to have a response against the German mortar. Now we'll be able to outrange it and outdamage it, although probably not out-accuracy it. And down south we see the T-70 hunting for that half-track. Can he actually get it? It looks like the half-track might have actually seen the T-70 and moved away, or it might have just been displacing to a different position. So the T-70 just stops where it last saw the half-track and is gonna be, well, asking itself where the half-track went. Up north on the fuel point, we see conscripts engaging against grenadiers. The grenadiers do move their position after getting Molotov on that hay bale, but with a second conscript squad coming up for support, that grenadier squad is in a lot of trouble. We do see the half-track moving to that side of the field to support, and it will be able to do so. The Grens are still at 3 men. Might actually lose another one against the conscripts, but the half-track will get right on top of the conscripts and start flaming them. We do not have 18-8s yet. He is researching them, but he doesn't have them just yet, so those conscripts are going to take a lot of damage to that half-track. One conscript squad already retreating, second one down to 5 men, but it is still staying on the field. Down to 4, and there goes the retreat. Can he get it out alive? We do have the T-70 coming up against that half-track. There goes a nice shot, getting some good damage on the half-track. T-70 refocusing on the grenadiers instead. Ooh, very nice shot. Actually nails one of those grenadiers. And now it backs away and is focusing on the half-track itself. Half-track down to about 30% health. More shots against the Grenadiers. Grenadier goes down. Second Grenadier pulls up a Faust, throws it at the T-70 and gets a nice shot, but ends up sacrificing his life in the process. Half-track down to about 10-20% health. Can he make it out alive? The T-70 does have a damaged engine. One more shot should do it. Can he finish it off? And there goes the half-track. Very nice pickup there for BossLtrain. And that should pretty much spell doom for Most Wanted Killer. He does have Panzerfaust on the field in Panzer Grenadiers, obviously. But those can very easily fall to a well-managed G70. And he has nothing on the field right now other than that response. One Gren Squad already eliminated. Conscripts do jump into the house. They are taking Faust in the face. Maybe a bundle nade might go down for Most Wanted Killer into the house. But the mortar is actually the one doing more damage here. 1mm mortar for the Soviet player is right outside his base, not doing a lot right now. And the T-70 is stuck up north, taking some shots at those Grenadiers, but it decides to back away, not wanting to risk getting Fausted even more. Conscripts in that house taking a beating by the mortar, down to 4 men. The MG42 still opening up on them, but the MG42 is down to 1 man. It's actually risking itself getting shot out. It does hit retreat. Can he make it out alive? He is going to have to run through the negative cover of the river, but it looks like he makes it home free, and more shots are landing. That actually looked like a Soviet round in that direction. Very common to get friendly fire by that mortar because it has so much range that the shots take a while to get there. But hold on. T-70 over on the left-hand side, gonna back off into safety, relative safety that is, and get repaired by the combat engineers. Up north, Grenadiers just capturing territory. Fuel cache, I believe. What is it? Yeah, fuel cache going down for Most Wanted Killer. He wants to speed up that that income for the fuel. Doctrine selection for Most Wanted Killer, and that is the Spearhead Doctrine, and got himself a mortar half-track. So a little bit more indirect fire in his favor, but if I'm not mistaken, the 1mm mortar still outranges the German mortar. So you will be able to bombard both of them. Yeah, German mortar is actually shooting into the center. So the conscripts are capturing the victory point. Victory point-wise, we have 324 points for BossLtrain and 492 for Most Wanted Killer. So up until this point, Most Wanted Killer has actually managed to control the victory points himself and is sitting very comfortably in that situation. Ooh, Panzer Grenadiers caught right in the open by those conscripts, down to 1 man. Can he make it out alive? I think that combat Panzer Grenadier is going to die. He is retreating, but no, down goes the Panzer Grenadier squad to a conscript squad. You don't usually see that much, but now the conscripts are taking a beating by both mortars. They are moving along, but 2 mortars. Oh, look at those shots. Very accurate, very nicely, and down to 3 men. Might actually want to retreat, and there it goes. Conscripts capturing the strategic point, and we now see the T-70 engaging the Grenadiers up north. It is backing off, trying to stay out of range of that Panzerfaust, and now he has the option of chasing these Grenadiers with that T-70, which he is going to do. Down to 2 men on the retreat, down to 1 man. T-70 can finish it off if he gets a nice shot off, but that Grenadier is down. And there we go. BossTrain picks up his 2nd Grenadier squad, so he has nothing on the field now to worry about. We do see a recon run? Yeah. Recon run being effectuated by Most Wanted Killer. Trying to see what's on the field, but, well, Most Wanted Killer only has MG42s now. And the MG42s, while very useful at, you know, holding territory essentially, they are not very useful against T-70s. And now we have a T-34 on the field for BossLtrain, so not a lot on the field that Most Wanted Killer can do. MG42 getting pushed away by the 1mm mortar, looks like. Look at those rounds, almost looks like artillery every time it hits. And the German mortars are a little bit further back, doing something, but not doing a lot. So T-70 could potentially be the ace unit right now in this matchup because there are no units on the field that can counter it. So it needs to just move around and go on the hunt. We do have another Grenadier squad produced for Most Wanted Killer, so at least he has another option for Faust, but once again, T-70 can pretty much kill those Grenadiers quite easily, even if it takes a Faust. Come on, push on with your T-70, be a little bit more aggressive, just go for it. And there he goes. He's gonna catch that MG42 out in the open. MG42 instantly retreats in the face of that T-70. The T-70 is gonna chase it, but it doesn't actually manage to do so, so he's just simply gonna use it to cap, and he's going for the victory point now. T-34 moving along in the back, a little bit caught there in the terrain. And we have the mortar and just conscripts littered all over the place, not actually doing a lot, just sitting there. Guards rifle sitting over on the left-hand side. So yeah, I mean, BossLtrain is well, in a pretty comfortable position. He doesn't really have much to worry about, and he's simply just content to hold the territory for now and produce more T-34s. So second T-34 being produced. With that one, he should assure himself a victory if, say, a Panzer IV hits the field. 2-on-1, very easy fight, and with the option to mark vehicle with his doctrine, you know, with mark vehicle you can almost guarantee yourself a 1-on-1 victory. So not a lot that BossLtrain has to worry about. Grenadiers pushing into the center, trying to recapture some territory and get himself in a little bit of a better position. Pack gun getting produced for Most Wanted Killer, pretty much all he can do at this point. He does have tier 3 already produced, but he does not have the fuel just yet to get anything. Well, he's trying to get a Panzer IV, is what I'm trying to get at. He could get a Stug, which is a fine option, but he's going for a Panzer IV. I'll pretty much guarantee that. So we'll see when that comes. Oh, very nice shot there by the Soviet mortar. Nails 2 of those grenadiers, and the conscripts are now out of the house and going to Ura right on top of the mortar shot. Let's see if the mortar actually nails the conscript squad. No, actually, very nice. Mortar actually ends up clearing out that grenadier squad down to 1 man, but the mortars of the Germans are returning fire onto the conscripts. The Soviet mortar thankfully did not take another shot and might have actually landed on the conscripts that they had. We have a second 1mm mortar hitting the field for BossLtrain, so he wants to start laying siege onto the German territory. T-70 pushing across the river, gets right on top of that pack gun, takes a nasty shot to the face, but it is going to be able to flank the pack gun and potentially decrew it. There's again nothing near the pack gun that can actually do anything against the T-70. And the T-70 is right in front of the pack gun, but it gets out of the arc of fire. T-70 continues to take some shots. The MG42 is the focus of the T-70 right now, gets cleared out, and the pack gun just stays there, almost drives himself into the arc of fire of the pack gun. But the T-70 is quite excellent at decrewing pack gun. There's actually a bulletin specifically for that. Well, not the decrew, but a bulletin that you get by having the T-70 decrew AT guns. So 120mm mortars laying siege on the German emplacements, or heavy weapons. T-70 decides to pull back and is going to get itself repaired. Probably can use its own repairs there, or even this one. Although which one costs less? It's 60 and 30. So this one, self-repair is fine. And T-34s are now in front of the German base. They actually crush the rest of the units, and the MG42 gets cleared out. So no more MG42s on the field for Most Wanted Killer. He is getting his mortar shot at, but he now has a Panzer IV on the field. Panzer IV is in a 2-on-1 situation. No more German forces. 1 grenadier squad getting produced, and the T-34s are heading straight into the base. If he uses mark target, he can pretty much guarantee that. There he goes. Mark target gets activated. It's going to go straight onto that Panzer IV. The Panzer IV is now in a bad situation. Look at those shots go down. He does pop his smoke, but is now outside of the smoke. So the Panzer IV does not get any defense from it. And there we go. T-34 runs right into it and kills it off. Grenadiers hitting the field. Only unit on the field for Most Wanted Killer. And the T-34s are just, well, laying siege. T-70 could also be sent in to help out, speed up the clearing out of infantry, but doesn't look like that's something he is interested in. So, again, I really don't know what Most Wanted Killer could do at this point. I mean, in theory, and this is only theory because he can't actually do it, but he could call it a Tiger, but, well, one, he doesn't have the fuel to be able to call it in, and he doesn't have the command points to be able to call it in. So, yeah, I mean, there's really not much else he can do, so not exactly sure why the game's still going on, but it is still going on, so Most Wanted Killer doesn't want to give up. It is a tournament after all, so he wants to fight to the very bitter end, and for the meantime, we see nobody wanting to cap this point for some reason. T-34s still on the field, backing off in the face of these Grenadiers. This one got a damaged engine. Other one using its VED-1 ability to capture territory. It finally cuts off the entire map for Most Wanted Killer, and the Grens continue to push forward, actually taking a nasty shot in the face on the retreat, and here comes the other T-34 trying to finish off that Gren squad. We do see a pack gun getting produced for Most Wanted Killer, so BossLtrain allowing Most Wanted Killer a little bit of breathing room, might be able to pull it off. Pack gun on the field, needs to stop. There goes, stops, and is going to take some shots at that T-34. Nasty shot on the side armor, but the Grenadiers are now dead. So the T-34 can simply circle strafe that pack-on quite easily. It also uses the buildings of the German players to hide behind. And another Grand Squad is getting produced. T-34 over here on this side. Probably waiting for some repairs, I would assume. It does have the ability to do this, which, you know, he could just simply activate instead. He does have a lot of munitions, so not sure why he's waiting for that, but oh well. We hear a... no, that's not an airstrike, it's a recon run. T-70 holding position right in front of the German base. It is going to run into the pack. The pack is going to take some shots at the T-70. It actually misses its first shot. T-70 now decides to move. It is going to move straight in. No, the T-70 actually misses, and the 120mm mortars actually end up being the ones that do some damage to T-70. T-70 now backing up since it sees a Grenadier squad in front of it. And the pack again whiffs that shot and doesn't kill anything. So the vehicle crew self-repair effectuated on this one, also on this one. So most wanted killers just not wanting to die. Still staying in the game, not capable of doing much. His base is actually open. There's a bunker right there, almost dead. But this entire approach can just simply walk in with all the infantry. T-70 moving back into the base. Gonna try to get a flank on that pack gun. It actually does so. And these conscripts could just simply push into the base. T-70 decrewing the pack gun quite easily. Again, it is very much designed to do that. So T-70 is now straight inside most wanted killer's base, and another pack gun is going to get produced, but another pack gun is probably going to get cleared out. So another T-34 getting produced for BossLtrain. He just wants to finish this, I suppose, and he's sending his tanks into the base. The pack gun sets up and takes another shot at the T-34. Actually misses and hits the carcass of the Panzer IV in front of it. So the T-34 has a chance to move out of the way. T-34 and T-70 just in there getting some shots. This T-34 over here finally gets repaired and is heading back into the base, while the third T-34 is now on the field, probably also getting itself. Again, I don't see why he doesn't just send his infantry in there either. I mean, he can do that quite easily, but well, his decision, of course. Pack gun moving in between the German buildings, trying to get an angle at some point, but not able to do so. The tanks just simply move along and continue to damage the buildings. T-70 getting in from the back door. And a Grenadier squad now on the field again for most wanted killer. Pack gun does get cleared out. Grenadier's probably going to throw a Faust at somebody, but no. Most wanted killer finally says, okay, that's it. I really can't do anything anymore. And he leaves the game. So, it took a little bit longer than it should have. The game was over probably at least 5 minutes ago, probably even 10. But yeah, pretty good. Very nice play there by BossLtrain. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, once again, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.